Good evening, everyone. I watched the video of what happened last week. The camera was fixed at one angle, so I could only see like this group here, but I assume all of you were here last week for the ceremony. Before I tell you what I think, can you tell me a bit about your feedback? What happened after that you went home? Let's start with Lily, is it? Yeah.
A bit emotionally drained. But it's a nice feeling. A very, I think I can sum it as emotionally drained. Yeah.
Emotionally draining. Yeah. Is it because you never have this feeling before?
Not the feeling like you being like touched. Yeah, between a parent and a child. Yeah, not often have that kind of feeling.
Okay. Yeah, the feeling that actually the trust. There is no war between you and your children. Yeah. Okay. I could feel that actually very very deeply. Especially the little girl. I think she's your daughter, huh? Basically, she did not come and practice with us. She did not know what's going on, but she kept looking at her brother. Whatever her brother did, she did. So she didn't know how to bow, she didn't know how to kou tao, huh? But she just like, boom. And she went down, boom. She bounced back. Have to go down again, boom. Like the total trust she has for her brother. And the way, the children look at their parents, I think maybe you have never had those looks from them before. And the looks from the parents to the children, I could see the love that is very genuine, no pretension, no pretensions. And in fact, I was worried maybe some children will not kneel. You know how especially teenagers, they could be very stubborn, but they did. They did kneel down, huh? And how does that feel, Jane?
I try not to stop.
And actually, they were trying very hard not to show the emotion. That's why they laughed. That's why they smiled, they laughed, so that because it's not cool to cry. For guys, it is not cool to cry. I remember when we first heard the lessons given by Mr. Chai, we were all crying, but we didn't want anybody to notice. So we kind of like, nobody watching, right? Quickly wipe out our tears. And then as I looked towards my friends, then only I realized that everyone was crying. It wasn't just me, everyone was crying. And the first thing we did was we called Mom. That nobody told us to do that, but the first thing we did was we called Mom. So I called my mom and I said, "Hi, Mom." And she paused for at least 20 seconds. She didn't say a word. You know why? She asked me, "Who are you?" 你係乜人啊? I said, "Hello, I'm 阿寶啊." 我是阿寶啊，就是 the name that my mom would call me. She said, 你真係阿寶咩? You really, you Poh Lan? I said, yeah, 我係阿寶啊。哎呦，閻王這麼晏叫我打電話上來。I mean, 冤枉啊，你這麼久都沒打電話回來。How come you didn't call for so long? So why did she recognize my voice? Why did she recognize my voice? She couldn't recognize my voice. Why? The aircon? It's too hot. It's, yeah, because we have some extra lighting tonight. Why didn't she recognize my voice? She didn't recognize my voice because I used to talk to her like this. I would call her and say, "Oi, Madao." You know why we call her Madao? You know Madao in Malay is Mata. Mata is what? Police. Because my brother always told us that, hey, mother's very fierce. That's why we should call her Madao. As fierce as the policeman. That's why brothers are very important, you know. Elder brothers, elder sisters, they impressed upon us. They are our example. So we just follow our brothers and say, Madao. And right even until like 7 years ago, I would still call her, hey, Madao. So that day, I pick up the phone, I say, "Hi, Mom." So she couldn't believe that was me. Because I always, "Hui." And so that explained the 22nd. Then her second sentence was, "How come you have not called me for so long?" Well, that must have been 2 months since the last I called her. Now, but my mother was not the kind of person who will always call me up and tell me, "Hey, how come you're not calling me?" She will not. Even though she likes to talk to me, but she will not. So that explains a lot of things about actually our parents, you know, how they hold back their expression of their love. And that day, I noticed even the father was still holding back very hard. Was I right? You were still trying very hard to hold back your emotions. I think that was the grandfather that was sitting at the front. And yeah, the gentleman was still holding very much back. And you know, I just wish that sometimes, you know, you guys don't have to hold back so much. If you feel like crying, you cry. It's okay, you know. So these are the occasions where we allow everybody to just let go of your walls. You don't need to be worried, you know, have this face. And when I think Lina asked them to say a few words to your children. The children, the boys at the front, just jump into the arms of the parents and just hug them. It's a very nice scene. Okay? And I think there was a boy who wanted to hug the granddaddy very much, but the granddaddy is the old school. The old school means, you know how the old Chinese man, you're not supposed to show your feelings, you're not supposed to show your emotions. But my dad always say, you know, once you get out of the bedroom, you cannot hold hands. I never seen my dad held my mom's hands. Okay, even talk closely to each other, he has never. Okay. So I could see the older gentleman, he was like very stiff. But I thought the little boy, the grandchild, really wanted to actually hug him. Okay. And the grandma, because the granddad didn't want to hug, so she wanted to hug, but she held back also. But the little girl, she really wanted to hug, so she just jumped to the grandma and just leaned over there. Okay. So I think when these kind of feelings, I think you should from time to time let go. You let go of your defensiveness. Why not show your love for them? Why not show your tenderness for them? Even that, it's okay. Because children, I think because of the social changes that they're facing, they require a little bit of this kind of attention. Okay? We would be actually felt deprived of love, but we accepted it. Now as you grow up, but the children, they seek this kind of love and attention through internet, through this information that they get. So they deviate, into other channels that are not that good for them. Because when we grew up, we didn't have that many televisions, there were no computers. We only have our brothers and sisters to lean on, and our parents. Right? So it's good. I saw you. I saw you crying all night, and but let me tell you, your sons were holding back very hard. They were just poking. Hey, be cool, man. Hey, kneel down, kneel down. So you gotta understand them. They are boys, and I think they were very touched as well. Right? So if we can keep this kind of feelings, and keep it as long as we can, that will help our relationship with children. But why do we miss and lose the kind of feeling? I think it's because trust, human trust, is absent. Why is human trust absent nowadays? Because of all this media, telling us that this is such an awful world, you cannot trust anybody. Even little children, they were taught not to trust. Now nobody would dare to put a sweet in his pocket and ask the children to take the sweet from the pocket. It's a very dangerous act. Don't try that, okay? But I think 50, 60 years ago, my friend's grandpa told me he always had sweets in his pocket. And he would walk to the park, and the children would run after him. If children he didn't know would run after him and say, "Hi, Grandpa." They didn't know him. They all call him Grandpa. "Hi, Grandpa, which is sweet." And before he could even reach out to his pocket for the sweets, they would poke their hands into his pocket and take the sweets. But now, I don't think anybody would dare to do that because you'll be accused. So Canada, nobody dare to do that. So, because once you're being accused, your name will be smeared all over the newspapers. Even though you're innocent, your name will be tar. And we even tell and teach our children, the way adults touch them, they have to be aware of. Some of them are not proper touch. Okay? But I feel that one day, one of the students there was very angry because his mom talked to me and she was late going there. So he was very angry. And he was actually yelling. And he yelled and screamed and said, "Mother, you're crazy. 神经病啊." 他说他母亲神经病啊。我说你来。我说你不可以骂你妈神经病啊。You cannot scold your mother crazy. You cannot. Like, why you scold him like that? He's late. She knows that we're waiting. How can she be late? I said, well, your mom was talking to me. I didn't know that you're waiting here. And your mom has something to talk to me about, but that doesn't make her crazy. But why are you so angry? Why are you yelling all the time? I notice you are screaming and yelling all the time. 我说你这样生气做什么？你有什么问题要跟老师谈谈嘛？ Then he walked away. Then Miss Huang told her, "Hey, 你回来，老师要跟你讲话." So she was trying to be very nice to him, but I tell him straight. I said, 我说老师跟你讲话，你看着我，你别摇来摇去哈。我说你看着我啊。我说你不可以跟你妈妈这样讲话。我说你没有看到你妈妈越来越瘦了。Actually, her mom was on a diet, but the diet is a bit too much, I think, because her eyes was kind of sunken. Ladies, sometimes you don't need to be as thin as a model. We don't need to. Those models, they don't dare to eat. Okay, they have to exercise all the time because they have to look like a walking hanger. Walking hanger? Okay, it's this gigantic 3D hanger walking on the stage with the piece of cloth. That's what they are needed for. You are beautiful the way you are. Okay? You just need a little bit of exercise to tone down your tummy, and that's about it. You don't need to be that, thin. But I thought she was a bit too thin, so I asked her son. I said, 你有看到你妈妈越来越瘦吗？他说看到了。我说你啊，是不是你气到你妈妈越来越瘦啊？你没有看到你妈妈很惨很可怜？他说是哦。You see, sometimes children they can understand. It's not that totally bad. 我说你不要再气你妈妈，你看妈妈这样瘦了，你要过去 apologize to your mom. So as I said that, I touched his head. And you know how after I pat the head, I was going to let go? You know what? His head followed my palm. Why did his head follow my palm? Like I patted him, right? That I was going to lift up my hand. I noticed his head was doing this. Why? He wanted me to pat him some more. I visited a chicken farm in China. You know, the chicken, they were all laid on a tray. So when all the chicks were hatched, they were hatched like, they were ducks, they're not chicks, they were ducks. They were just a whole plate of little ducklings. And it's funny, if you put your finger there, you know their head will go to, but they stroke your fingers. You know why? They need the attention. They were deprived of the motherly love. They were hatched by artificial light. So they were looking for that warm, that cuddly feeling. So I put my finger there, and I noticed that they kept putting their heads against my fingers. Okay? But too bad, I only could stroke it for I think 1 minute. Then the whole tray was brought to somewhere, I don't know where. They had to separate them into male and female, I think. Okay? So as I petted that, I found that he was like, his head follows me. Okay, so then I continue like, at first it was over here, then over there. I said, good boy. I said, 你要做好学生，你要做 good boy, OK? 你要照顾你的妈妈。然后我就放下了哈，然后说他还站在那边，他还站在这边，那我就再 pat 他，他就这样站在那边给我 pat。你看 children 啊 just need a little what? A little bit of patting. 不用说哎呀抱他们你很棒啊什么，有时就是 a little bit of patting. 难道我们真的是这样 distance from our children 了吗？真的跟我们的孩子距离这么远了吗？是吧？ We should show them a little bit of, care and concern. Pat them a little bit, pat them on the shoulder, tell them this. I have teachers who told me, she said, 老师你的这个给我是很大的鼓励。I said, I said, yeah, 老师你只要这样做就可以了。That's all? Yeah. 他说我本来上去很怕，我看到你在下面跟我这么做，我心就很定下来了哈。所以有时候你的儿子很慌张啊，很怕，还是说很叛逆的时候，你能够这样跟他讲，你就恨不得去打他2巴掌，还跟他这样。有时给他多一点鼓励他可能会放下。Maybe they will release their defensive mechanism as well. And don't need to hold back as much, your true feelings. Okay, as long as you don't go to the other extreme. The other extreme means you no longer treat them as children, but you treat them as friends. That's the other extreme. You got to remember, you are his parents or her parents. You're not their friends. When they started treating you as friends, they'll start calling you names. 然后就没大没小，这个也不行的。That also cannot. Okay, so you keep a little bit distance, but at the same time, be a little bit more affectionate towards them. And of the videos that they show, I saw the video about the son who ran away, and the father helped him to recover. Do you remember that one? What do you think of that one? And Jen, I saw you crying really terribly after that. Yeah, why did you have that strong feeling? It's very touching, isn't it? Why was it touching to you? Never experienced that kind of love, is it? Yeah, never experienced that kind of love, yes. Because it never have to. That's why, but if it's needed, I think a father or mother would do that. But it's just that we we're a little bit more self-centered now. We may not necessarily want to do what the father did. We may just put the son in a physio, ask a physiotherapist to help him. But if you really, come from your heart, you help your son, then, like even though the son was paralyzed, because of the father's dedicated love, you can save him. Sometimes they are metaphors. And the metaphors, metaphor means they use this to represent something. Now, the son paralyzed, it could be a metaphor of the kids are paralyzed by his own selfishness, by his own rebellious. He didn't know what to do, and he didn't know how to do, and he may even did not know want to do, or want to change himself, or want to be good. He's totally paralyzed that way. And as for the father, he wanted him to be good, but he didn't know how to express it. It's a metaphor of our parents who wanted us to be good, but who do not know how to express themselves. And the son, as he rebelled, it also become a metaphor of us wanting to rebel against our parents. So the last love that the father showed the son is a metaphor that no matter how paralyzed or how bad the situation of our children is, you never give up hope. You never say, I don't love you anymore, you are paralyzed, you are no good, you go out, you get out, I don't care about you. It's a metaphor of the greatness of the parents' love. And that's why it touches us, because we stop. We stop at the minute we see him disobeying us, we get angry. We stop our love. We don't try harder. But if we can be like him, we try as hard as we can, and we save this kid, you will find that feeling. The feeling of unconditional love. You'll be able to find that, and he will appreciate you, just like his son. Because his son did not think that his father would do that. Right? His son actually hated his father. But when his father could give him that kind of unconditional love, his father get the trust of his son. So today we actually wanted to talk to you about trust. So I'm going to jump from chapter 2, chapter 3, right into chapter 4. Do you remember last week, 2 weeks ago, we talked about confidence. Why do we don't have confidence? Do you have confidence that your children will love you in the future? That after this tear-jerking ceremony, how long can it last? And your dedication, your love for them, how long can it last? Do you have confidence that it can last, one moment? Yeah, exactly. No, it cannot last too long. Why? Because we don't have the confidence. What did we say about confidence 2 weeks ago? Where did confidence come from? Do you remember? Where did confidence come from? From yourself. Why did it come from yourself? What makes you confident? Because you can do it. Because you can trust yourself that you can deliver. Remember the circle? We say the self in the center. This is our self in the center. Okay? And if we have credibility, that means we can fulfill all our promises. We can actually deliver whatever we set out to do or we promise. So we have trust in ourselves. Then when we have trust in ourselves, we can extend outward to our relationship. come the relationship. Why can we have trust in our relationship? Because you know that whatever you promise your children, you can deliver. And whatever your children, okay, have promised, you know that they will deliver. You can trust them. Now, I don't know why that parents always tell me they cannot trust their children. Do you trust your children? Do you trust your children? Do you trust your children? To a certain extent, right? Only to a certain extent, because a lot of times they break their promise, right? Now, so every time when they've done something right, tell them that they have done something right. You say, hey, mom can trust you to do that. You have to trust them. Now, I recently roommate with a girl who is the daughter of one of the datuk, okay? Now, her version of the family and the family's version of her, it's totally different. How they can see each other in a totally perspective. So she was being seen as somebody very uncooperative. She was being seen by the whole family as somebody who is like a black sheep of the family. But when she tells me about her family, she also feels that everybody seems to have problems. And the biggest problem was the person who said she has the biggest problem. So they see each other has problem, right? And they don't seem to be able to trust her. And I found that maybe because I'm not her family, I can trust her. And I told her that I don't know anything about Paris. You can just go ahead, plan your trip, and just take me. I don't care. I don't need to know how you plan it, but you just go ahead. And because Paris subway is very complicated, sometimes you have to go down, and then you go to the front, and then you have to go up, and then go out, and then go to the other metro, and then take another train. Okay, there are like 4 types of trains. And including buying tickets, looking at all the maps, she did everything. I didn't have to worry about anything. I didn't even have to worry about pickpocket. Like, we were just taking pictures of iPhone, and yeah, it was a great fun. Okay? And then she would even ask me, she said, teacher, can I pour you a cup of water? It's something that she hardly do at home. So sometimes I wonder, like this trust, do you wait for them to trust you first, or do you wait for yourself to trust them first? And when she took me to the wrong exit, I didn't get angry. I said, 走错了，没关系啊，再走过了。So, we have to walk from the east side to the west side. It's a long walk, And then the sign is very interesting. In Paris, if the sign is pointing downward, it doesn't mean that it's downstairs. It means what? Direct, forward. So every time we saw the arrows downward, we went downstairs. And they would tell us, no, it's upstairs. And some more, they didn't talk English to us. All these things parlez anglais. If they parlez pas anglais, how did she know that I was speaking English, right? So we have to talk very very lousy French to them, and then they give us some direction. So I said it's fine. I mean, to me, it's all an exploration. It's part of the fun of going out to explore the trip. But to her, she said, luckily, mom was not with us, because if she was with us, she would have given me what? Lots of complaint. 你怎么乱带我们走的？你怎么没有好好的去 plan 好来的？ But whereas when I so totally trust her, 哎呀，你走了，我也懒得去看地图， it's so complicated. I said 1, 2, 4 stops. Okay, 我就记得 1, 2, 4 stop, then we get off. 啊，走错了啊，再进去哦。You can hop up and back and forth, up and down the subway, no extra cost. Don't worry. You just have to get out and then go somewhere. Right? And so I think this trust factor, if you can trust yourself, you can trust other people. So we have to start trusting ourselves. But how do we trust ourselves? Okay. And in chapter 4, it organized a lot of things that can help us to trust ourselves. But let us look at this trust first. You see, we have talked about this many times over, that in ancient China, trust is a very important part of life. That's why the word trust今天我们来练一练中文字哈，丽丽拿你的笔跟纸出来。We're going to write a Chinese character today because it is a very important word. Without this, 5 moral relationships, the 5 human relationships cannot work. No matter how much you preach, how much you expect your children to do something, it won't work. Why? Because they cannot trust you. So trust is very important. Without this, nothing works. So trust, 你看，左边 is a what? 一个人啊，一个人 ，people。右边呢是言。言 his words. 人言 that means people's words combined together is trust. That means that whatever you say, that itself is trustworthy. 不用写的 What you say is trustworthy. It doesn't have to be written down. But nowadays, even with contract, we still argue over the contract. Can you trust what you write? You cannot trust what you write because you have your lawyer, I have my lawyer, and we argue over what was written, what was signed. 以前的人呢，我讲出来的话就是 contract. 我讲出来的话，你就可以信了。There's no need to write. So in the ancient wedding, do you need to go to the court to sign anything? No need. Your ceremony is being witnessed by so many people. So if it ever fails, it's actually quite embarrassing. You don't need to sign anything. It is your ceremony itself is a testimony. So you know that older Chinese, they don't actually trust the piece of paper, but they trust what? The reception. 嚇冇擺酒啊！ You know, it's signed in the civil court already. 簽咗名就係夫妻啊！嚇簽名唔擺酒啊？邊度得 ？Cannot. Have you heard old people saying that? What? Only sign the paper? No dinner? You don't want to invite our relatives, our friends to witness as a testimony to your marriage? To them, it's unimaginable. So now the bride-to-be, the groom-to-be, they first go and take pictures before the wedding. Oh, honeymoon first? Oh, really? Serious? Oh, yeah, the picture of the honeymoon. Okay, so they go honeymoon and take pictures first. What happened? They found that during the honeymoon, they don't like each other. So fast. Well, exactly, that's the problem, isn't it? You know why the ancient make the wedding so elaborate? They make it so elaborate so that you would only do it once in your life. You would never want to do it twice, 3 times or 4 times in your life. 哎呀，一次就够了，娶一次老婆就很麻烦了。Well, but now, like, if you can just take pictures and go honeymoon and then sign a paper and then you become man and wife, it could be easily just as simple as what? Sign a piece of paper and denouncing the marriage. Yeah, it's just a piece of paper. So the older days, 不是哦，我讲的话就是 trust， 就是 credit， 不用写是什么纸的啊。So there were 2 friends who trusted each other so much that one of them, they were still school at that time. They said, if you can come and see me, you know, at a certain time of the year, you know, I think 3 years later, you are always more than welcome, because I know that you won't be able to make it, in the next 3 years. But I hope to see you in 3 years from now. So he said, yes, I will. I promise I will. So on that day, on the date, he prepares everything. He asked his mom to, slaughter a chicken to, wait for his friend. But his friend did not turn up. So his mother told him, 哎呀，你傻的啦，哪里会有人这样来守诺言的？人家都不知道去了哪里啊，都唔知去咗邊啊。How could he come back? He won't. Then just he was starting to believe what his mom said, the friend turned up. His friend turned up. And he said, oh, I'm so sorry, I almost did not make it. Because I was ill and I had to delay my trip. But I make it here because I did not want to break my promise. So there were people who were like that. You don't need a piece of paper. You don't need recording. Now you know what we use our handphone for? You promise me, huh? Let me record it first. Okay, start talking. And then I don't know whether you know it or not. If you talk on the phone, suddenly you hear some click. That means what? The other guys are recording. We have that kind of device, so you never know what you said being recorded or not, right? And you can't trust. You see what I mean? You can't trust people during your intimate moments. Can you trust the guy or the girl who will not suddenly take out his or her handphone and take a picture and then upload in YouTube? Everything can be on YouTube nowadays. In just, I think, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, people are very proper about this sort of thing. They do not tell. They do not kiss and tell. But now, handphone is so convenient that you do something and they took a picture and next thing you know is on the YouTube. Okay? So this thing, right from this word, we realize that how important the ancient thing, credibility is. So 有句話叫做一言九鼎. That means one word equals to the weight of 9 ding. This is the ding. A very heavy utensils. They use for offering goods to the god, or they use for holding, very heavy things, mostly for God. So 一言九鼎. One word is as heavy as the weight of the 9 ding. 所以以前人可不可以随便讲话 They cannot simply talk, especially the emperor. So the ancient Chinese have a saying that the emperor has a golden mouth. 有金口啊，皇帝一講話咧就會變真㗎。So the old people will believe that. Right? So the emperor cannot simply crack any jokes. Must be terrible to be an emperor. No wonder so many royal families didn't find it too happy. Because they cannot crack simply jokes, because all the jokes will become a reality. So honesty is the original meaning of 信 is what? 诚实. 诚 means what? Sincerity. 实 is very solid. 诚实 means honesty. You neither cheat oneself or the others. Why it says here neither cheat oneself or others? Do we cheat ourselves? Can we cheat ourselves? What do you think? Let's ask Chui our guest. Can we cheat ourselves? How could we cheat ourselves? We understand ourselves. 我们是最明白自己的人嘛，怎么会骗自己呢？为了面子会去骗自己的，是不是啊？有时候为了面子会骗自己，什么时候会骗自己啊？ When we don't want to face the consequences, we will cheat ourselves. We will make ourselves believe what we see. Right? You know what? We are what we think. Our mind shapes our thought. And we are what we think. Do you think you're beautiful? Okay. Do you think you're beautiful? Yes, you. Me? Yeah, you. Do you think you're beautiful?
Not really.
See? Not really, right? Okay. Do you think she's beautiful? She's quite beautiful, isn't she? Right? But she believes that she is not beautiful. And she will not be beautiful because that's what she believes. No matter how she looks at herself, she is not beautiful. Right? Do you believe that you are old? Do you believe you're old? Yeah, you believe you're old, right? Is she old? She's not old, right? But she believes she is old. Right? So if Lao Liza, the very filial son, right? he was over 80 years old, almost, right? But his fathers were over like 90 years old. He would still put up those funny costumes to make his parents laugh. Because he wanted to make his parents happy. So to him, he wasn't old. So it's your perception that makes you, think that you are old or you're not beautiful. Or let's say you are short. Okay? You are short physically, but you can be tall mentally. Okay? But if you are short physically and you are also short mentally, then you'll be really short and short. Right? So you got to believe in yourself because you are what you think. Now we say you are what you eat, but I think you are what you think yourself to be. So do you think you are a failure? Let's ask Robin. Do you think you are a failure? No, right? Yeah, you don't think you're a failure? Really? Are you sure? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, when we don't think we are a failure, then we are not a failure. Nobody can make you a failure unless you are a failure. Okay? So nobody can cheat ourselves except we cheat ourselves. Okay? But you say, I got this email telling me if I put the money in the bank, certain bank account, they will transfer how many millions into my account. Now, how many of you will buy that? We believe that. You won't, right? You sure? You won't, right? Do you know that there were people who would? Right? But to us, it is so obvious that it's scam. But why would people still buy it? Greed. They cheat themselves by greed. So we can say, I am very clear about what I want. A lot of times our greediness, our anger, our delusion, our arrogance, okay, and our ignorance, they can all kind of push us towards cheating ourselves. Then we don't see that as cheating ourselves, we say somebody else cheat us. Can somebody really cheat you if you don't want to be cheated? So if today a very handsome guy come and propose to you, would you accept it? He understands you very well, He said, your husband getting old and he's not attentive. And I know he's out there with some women, but I really like you, I like you for the way you are so beautiful. Now, would you buy into that? You won't, right? Would you? You sure? See, you are very wise. But there are some lonely There's some lonely women. There's also over 40s, either divorced or single. They do buy into that. And that's why they actually focus on this kind of, you would assume that they will be much more mature, that they won't be an easy catch, right? But you know what? They are very easy catch. Some more, at their age, they are what? A little bit established economically, right? And they need someone who look up to them, right? So nobody can cheat us except ourselves. So 诚实, honesty means you neither cheat yourself or others. Right? You got to look at yourself very honestly. Now, phrases related to 信 could be reliable, could be believing. Even the letter would use 信, right? Messenger and message. Why would message and messenger and letter would use 信? That's a little bit of brainstorming here. You're sitting a little bit too comfortable. We have been sitting all week long. Why would letter, okay, believe, we know that you got to have trust in something before you can believe. But why letter and messenger and message all have the 信呢? Message is 信息 or 消息. Messenger is 信使, right? The one who bring you the message. And letter means 信札 or 信函. Why did the Chinese use 信 to be included in letter, messenger, and message? Okay. Try. 因为是我自己讲的东西，所以写信的时候要有没有信用？哎，写信的时候就要有信用。When you write a letter, you have to write things that are credible, that are trustworthy. You don't simply go and write and write and write and write. Somebody said he was poisoned by some 琼瑶小说. The very famous love story writer. He said, 我从小就以为爱情是这样的，这样浪漫。And then he knew that he was totally wrong. Right? And the author herself didn't really have a very happy romantic life. Right? So when you write, you got to write with credibility. You cannot simply write anything, right? That cheat people, that lie to people, things that are not credible. Then why does a messenger has to have 信 inside? Why does it has to have trustworthy with a messenger? 为什么那个？来后面，为什么要信使？ Why does a messenger would employ this word 信？ This one, 信使 messenger. Why does a messenger needs to be trustworthy? 即係送信嘅人做咩我信得過去啊？ It means that if I cannot trust the messenger, the message that he brings to me may not be reliable, and he may not even bring the message to the recipient. Have you ever have your letter open by, well, I don't want to say post office. Your letter could be opened, or the message never delivered to you, or something inside is missing. That's why to be a messenger, he has to be reliable. 他一定要能够信得过的人. He has to be reliable. That's why the Chinese use 信使. Then your message, just like the letter, your message must be reliable. So, 子贡, Confucius' student, was asked this question by Confucius. In governing, which of the following can be spared first when necessary? Okay? Which of the following can be spared when necessary? Army, food, or promises made to the people? Which one? They say if you only have enough for one, which one will you spare first? or when necessary, which one will you spare? Okay, you can spare promises made to the people. You can spare that first, right? Anybody else have any other idea? Now, our challenge tonight is everyone must answer the one question. So, which one of you have not? Yes. We have over here promises made to the people. Now, why would we spare promises made to the people first? Over here. Why would we spare promises made to the people first?
What does the question mean in governing which of the following can be spared? What does it mean?
That means if you are the government, okay, if you only have like limited resources, okay, you have to spare this. Which one would you spare first? That means when you have to get rid of, let go. Army, okay, you let go of the army. Why? Do you not need the army to defend your country? Exactly. If you have the people's trust, they will be your army. Okay. But if you don't have the trust, what's the point of having an army? They all turn against you. Okay. But isn't the food important? Food is important, right? You cannot spare, right? You cannot spare food, right? Okay. If you break your promise to the people, can the food be delivered to them? Cannot. We have corrupted officers who will not deliver food to the people. So what is most important here? The promises made to the people. If we don't have enough food, we all equally suffer. I will have the trust of my people, will be able to stand up to any invasion. Because if I am a government that keep breaking my promise to the people, which means what? I'm actually could be stealing from the people. So what is most important is the promises. And that's why, in this ancient teaching, ever since the beginning of time, everyone will die eventually. But a government that betrays its citizens' trust will not be able to hold its position for long. 自古皆有死，民无信不立. Right. So what can hold a government and what can hold ourselves up is the trust. So what the gentleman has said, even a fast chariot cannot bring back. 君子一言既出，驷马难追. Okay. 驷马 means the horse that can run very fast, not 四条马. Okay. Horse that can run very fast. So 还有一诺千金, a promise is worth 1,000 ounces of gold. But maybe today we would rather have the gold than the promise. Now, lightly promise, seldom trustworthy. So, 轻诺而寡信. So, 老子劝我们不要这么容易去 promise 人家，不要这么容易去答应人家做事情。所以《弟子规》说：是非宜勿轻诺。Don't simply make promises, especially to children. I find that they are very good at remembering what you promised them. Don't simply promise them. When you feel good, 记得吗？盛喜之时，勿许勿。When you are happy, when you are too excited, don't promise them to give them anything. They remember. Or take them to anything. Never say, son, if you get so many A, I will bring you to Europe. If they really get so many A's, Dad, when are we going to Europe? Did I say that? Yes, you did. Oh, I did, huh? they will remember you. Okay, once, twice, 3 times. When you sell out your credibility, they will not trust you again. 所以呢，记得哈，轻诺而寡信。You must deliver what you promise. So in the shop, we have 童叟无欺嘛. We don't take advantage of old people or children. But nowadays, it seems that these are the 2 type of people who we take most advantage of. 老人家嘛，你不懂嘛，懵懵地嘛，呃下佢咯。細佬哥你唔識嘢，呃下佢啊。See the ancient they say 童叟無欺，叟就是老人家，童就是小孩子。We don't cheat, take advantage of old people or children. So how do we build trust, confidence, and nurture a reliable personality? That's when we have to look at chapter 4. So the 4 subjects taught by Confucius are moral and ethics, speech, administration, and literature. 德, this word 德, the ancient way is 直心. Zhi means straight. Xin is heart. That is what later on evolved into this word. This is the eye, this is one, this is heart. 直心就是德 is virtue. That means he's very sincere, he's not crook. He's totally honest and straight. So 德行言语正式而文学 speech, administration, literature comes after. So we can see from here that speech is very important. Why is speech important? Why is speech so important? Because people will be affected by what we say. So speech is the second subject after virtues and moral in Confucius' curriculum. And that's why in the chapter 4, trustworthiness, 7 out of 15 rules in this chapter are about proper speech. So how does it teach us to talk properly? Number 1, when we speak, honesty counts the most. Deceit and lies are unacceptable. 凡出言信为先，诈与妄奚可焉. You want to learn Chinese? How to read it? Okay. 凡出言信为先，诈与妄奚可焉. That means that whenever we speak, whenever a speech is given, trustworthy is the priority. Deceit and lies, how can it be allowed? Is what it means. Okay? You must be trustworthy of what you say. Then, 话说多不如少. I think this is the golden rule. We always bump into trouble when we talk too much. Whenever we talk too much, we bump into trouble. Okay? 惟其是勿佞巧. So how should we talk? We just talk enough to what serve its purpose. Do not flatter or become a clever talker. 不要呢，哇，好像什么都好像很厉害，很会讲话这样，就老老实实的就好了。But if you are a very cultured person, you naturally knows how to talk because you learn about literature. So it is good that you pick up readings about literature. So don't watch television that much. Television really don't teach us that much. And in fact, I was sitting in the aeroplane. All the movies, did you notice that? I think almost like 80% have violence in it. So we sit in a cafe in France, and you see the soldiers, three, they always walk in three, have the machine guns, or look like machine guns, and the way they hold it was like this. They are going to shoot anytime. They didn't hang it here, because if they hang it over the shoulder, somebody may grab it. So they were holding it like this, which means that, hey, I can shoot anytime. Okay? And that is exactly like the movies. And they talk about 5 minutes, then they start shooting. They talk about 5 minutes, then they start fighting. They talk another 5 minutes, they start arguing. There's not much to learn from television or from these movies. Okay? So, may I ask what kind of television movies, do you watch? Or programs you watch? Do you watch television? Yes. You do? You don't? Let's watch those who watch television. Yeah, what kind of program do you watch?
Sometimes cooking, sometimes drama.
Okay, cooking seems healthy. Yeah, drama. Yeah, what kind of drama? Cops.
Broadway musical drama. It's like
A Broadway musical. They still have that on television?
there is one which is the latest one. It's called Smash.
Oh, Smash.
It's called Smash. SMASH. It's about a Broadway musical.
So at least music and dance. Okay, what else do you watch? News? All are bad news, huh? Not much good news, huh? So we watch bad news, and after you hear the news, you dare to walk out. When I was in Taiwan, I watched television, and you know what, frankly, after I watched all the news, I did not dare to walk out of my hotel. But when I walk out of a hotel, it seems very peaceful. But if you watch the television news, you would think that anytime you go out, you'll be killed. Somebody will pour some acid onto your head, or will throw something on the roof, or somebody will run over you, or taxi, yeah, especially taxi. They'll say, you dare to take the taxi by yourself? I say, is there anything wrong? Of course it's wrong. Didn't you hear all the news? I say, no, I don't watch television. So it's like a horrible world, depicted by the little box. Okay, so we don't watch television, okay? Okay, you don't watch television, then you would have a little bit more time, right? Over here. So what do you do with your free time? Huh? Housework. Okay, you cannot finish the housework. There must be some systematic way of doing housework, right? Do housework. Okay, there's so many housework to do, but I'm sure there are systematic ways of doing housework. You don't need to do it like every day, same volume. You got to plan, right? My mom planned it very well. She had to take care of 11 children, You know how many housework she had? But she could handle it by herself. Because she planned. I think Monday, Wednesday, Friday, she washed clothes or something. I remember she was very systematic.
Your mom don't need to send children to tuition at school.
Exactly, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, exactly, and we were okay. No tuition. Okay, but the last part was the tuition teacher came to us. Why was the tuition teacher came to us? Because my sister liked him. So he kept recommending him to come and teach us so that she could look at him. But he totally ignored my sister, which made her a little bit upset. And we didn't know about it until we... So it was okay, tuition, we need tuition. Okay, tuition came, and my mom didn't know what tuition is all about because it was all arranged by my sister. Yes. Did she need to take us up and down the school and fetch us or pick us up? No, at that time we were what? Go by ourselves. It was very, I don't know, life was very simple. Life was cute. 6 days books I could all put in my school bag because I was a very lazy kid. Not unlike my classmate, she would tidy up, her books every night. She would only bring books that was needed tomorrow. I didn't care. So I took 6 textbooks with me to school every day. But it was this thick. My bag was only this thick. 现在好还是以前好？以前很好的，很开心的。对。So 话说多不如少，惟其是勿佞巧。So we were saying like, okay, other than housework, but of course when you do housework, you complain, right? How many of you really enjoy doing housework? Do you enjoy doing housework? No, right? Do you enjoy? Right? We don't enjoy doing the housework, right? But then the floor gets dirty. Oh, our guys here, I asked them how often do they sweep the floor. They said, oh, I look at my socks. If the socks are unbearable black, we'll mop the floor. That's a bit extreme, huh? But you also don't need to mop the floor every day. And also ask your kids to help out with the housework. That's what happened to my mom later on. Let's start to distribute. Because my sister felt that we should help out. So we distribute out the housework. So there are ways that we can distribute the housework. What I'm saying that housework is fun, it's great, but you do need time to actually do some cultured things. Watch a cultured show, a cultured movie, read a cultured book. You don't just like every day go home and just what? Do housework. Housework is what? Mop the floor, cook, and what? What else? Washing, ironing. Yes. When you wash and you iron, what do? 听经念佛。That's very good, very blessed. Right? 听经念佛, very blessed. After Qing said, we must let go. Don't hate people. That's great too. But for those of you who don't, you need to find something, to fill up your spiritual world. We need the spiritual world to release us. Otherwise, 又是那个，又是你。Every day is yeah. Do you really happily live every day? You happily woke up and say 太高兴了，我今天又可以煮早餐，又可以送我的孩子去上学，我又可以等一下又回来，我又可以去上班，等一下我又可以去 shopping， 我又可以去听经，我又可以去太高兴了，有没有？没有，是不是？你都是天天So what to do? What to do about this life? Sounds an awful life. Exactly, balance it. Sometimes go traveling. 礼拜天 pack up something, take your whole family, go travel. Drive a car, take a train, go somewhere. Get out of the house. Or at least 2 weeks. Once every 2 weeks or once every month. Go and do something totally different together. Okay, pick up a nice restaurant and really study the menu. Take up a site, go out and study the site, from the father to the mother. You talk about what you see. Share with each other. Do something different. Sing. Do singing. Oh, you like to sing? Sing in the bathroom. Sing in the shower. 是唱歌，大声这样刷刷刷就唱啊。孝顺我父母，刷刷刷。Do something a little bit crazy, Don't just kind of keep on coping, cope up in, and the little 4 walls. Guys, what do you do, guys? I know those are very boring housewives plus career women. Like, well, what do you do? Play game. Really? No? You got to speak for men, man. Do something. They say you play games. What do you do? Watch. Oh God! You watch TV. What program do you watch? Huh? A documentary. At least you got some knowledge, right? Like Discovery, National Geographic. But the problem with National Geographic, they always show animals, huh? No? Not anymore? Oh, that's good. Usually you animals again. I want to see some human beings. Right? But National Discovery, yeah, it's the good documentary. But still, they are just a little box. Go out and do the National Discovery real life. You know, get out of the sofa. Go and skydiving. What? Skytrack. What is that?
Inshallah, there's a getting horse skytracks. Flying fox, in the jungle and on top.
Oh, sounds interesting. You try it? You try it? Oh, that's good. Yeah, let's go try it. Hey, find out where it is. Oh, hey, it's good. Go and do something. You know, walking, jungle trekking. Take the whole family.
Yeah, hanging from tree to tree.
Oh, really?
There is no skytrack. Inshallah.
There's no rope?
On the ground, you go on the tree.
Oh, really? Do you like a monkey, like you hop from one tree to the other? You never fall, right? There's rope holding you.
Safety, belt safety, everything safety.
Ah,
Very experience.
sounds interesting. Then your children can watch? Oh, really? They all can do it together?
Depends on height.
Well, there you go, you see. Please ask for the address and the contact number. Go and do something like that, you know, and then explain the trees, explain the wonderful things about rainforests, what rainforests are doing for the world. You know, our rainforests are the lungs of our planet Earth. Without these rainforests, our Earth cannot breathe. We need these forests. So we are cutting down a little bit too many trees, a little bit too fast. It's like cutting off bits and pieces of our lungs. One day our Earth cannot breathe. So we explain to them about ecology, how we must love this world, because astronauts told us they cannot find another Earth. Don't know for how many more solar years from here. It's very difficult to find a planet as wonderful, as heavenly, as blue as Earth. But every day we seem to be destroying it with plastics. The funny about Paris is they have a lot of glass. They didn't use that much plastics. So the glass they can reuse and reuse. They don't need to bury it. So we have yogurt in glass. We have jam in glass. What else do we have in glass? Almost anything that they can hold in glass, they will use glass. And they just change the top. Usually it's a piece of paper. Okay, you just take off the piece of paper, the glass can be reused over and over again. To explain to the kids the importance of the environment, the importance of nature, the importance of how we must love everything on this planet. You have to talk to them. And talk about the wonderful thing about our body. You know, when the Japanese robotic scientist, when I forgot his name, he said after he started doing research on robots, then only he realized that how much we should appreciate human body. He said, you know how difficult it is to make a robot to walk one step up one step? The amount of coordination from the control, okay, from the control to the nerve, he said it's very complicated. So they have to artificially create a certain kind of message transmission from a part of the body, and then transmit a message, go through all these wires, and only will move a little bit, and then it can only move a little bit of his leg, and then move forward and upward. But he said, human being take this for granted. After you're a baby, you can crawl, you can walk, you can stand, you walk upstairs, you just you walk upstairs. But a robot, to do that, he said, they have to trigger a lot of messages, a lot of wires. He said, we must appreciate our body, this wonderful body. And in our body, we have millions and millions of immune cells, which can help us to ward off all these germs and bacteria and viruses, but we are able to destroy them within 30 years. So we're destroying our natural environment every day. And so these are the things you can talk to your children about. Give them confidence. They said unnecessary plastic surgery. I'm not talking about medical plastic surgery. Okay? Unnecessary plastic surgery are like what? Destroying our nature. What is nature? Your face is nature. If it's not necessary, you just want to alter them, okay? You are actually destroying the environment. And when you destroy it, when you try to alter it, you may not. Okay? A girl, since she was a teenager, she didn't like her nose. So she wanted to fix her nose. And because her father was very rich, she actually booked a flight to Taiwan to want to get her nose fixed. Because she said her nose was too big. But what's wrong with a big nose for a girl? It's good. A round nose for a girl is good. That means she will have a very good husband. And the husband will love her. And she will bring good luck to her husband. 睇相啊. If you've not seen those older Datin, they didn't look that pretty, but they all have what? Big round nose. They look very dumpy looking actually. But they are great Datin. Whereas those like very sharp features, like ladies, usually they're not so fortunate. You know? So we got to give them the confidence. 你很漂亮啊，你就是因为你的鼻子很特别，你才是很好看。没有，我最讨厌我的鼻子，没有你的鼻子很好看的。你说你其他谁有你的鼻子 ？So as we walk, as we talk, actually we give our children confidence. It is a way to bridge our relationship. So do something, go out and do something different. And as we walk, as we talk, we are not talking about nonsense. But at home, when the space is so narrow, you tend to what? Pick on each other. So I'm sure if I stay with this girl too long, maybe we'll start picking on each other. Because the space is too narrow. Do you know that in a chicken coop, you cannot put more than, I believe, was it 75 chickens in a chicken coop? There are a certain number of chickens. If you put over that number, they will start to fight. Okay? So they're very tolerant. Over 70 chickens, then only they start to fight. Sometimes we fight with ourselves. We don't need to fight with others. We can start fighting with ourselves. How do we know that we are fighting for ourselves? So ladies, do you think you are holding larger and larger bags or smaller and smaller bags? Larger and larger, right? Why are you holding larger and larger bags? You don't see the men holding any bags. They survive very well. Why do women need bigger and bigger bags? Security reasons. Why do we need bigger bags to make us feel secure? We never know we may need the things. So what are the things that we need? Water bottles. And you guys don't drink water? You guys don't drink water, right? I don't see you hold water bottles. The wife hold the water bottle, isn't it? So the wife hold the water bottle. That's why the guys don't hold water bottles. And what else? What else do we need a big bag for?
Pepper spray. Pepper spray.
Pepper spray. Oh, okay, God. Okay, pepper spray and books, combs, recycle bags. We put a lot of things in our bags, isn't it? Okay, so no matter how big the bag is, we'll be able to feel it. And then we feel that it's not enough, we need another bigger bag, right? So have we ever think about the fact that we should reduce the goods inside the bag instead of putting more, instead of having bigger bags? And the bigger your bags is, the harder you find your things. Right? You have your handphone in there, but you will do what? 哪里啊？哪里？ So lady， 基本上你看，所以就是多不就是好的 ，OK， 大也不是说好的 ，OK。The thing is, you got to look at your things and just be practical. Okay. So why are we talking about bags? We're talking about because we're talking about what 惟其是勿佞巧. Everything, if it serves its purpose, then that is enough. And we talk about bags because I hope that you guys do something different. When you do something different, then you won't feel that insecure. You have to have a lot of things inside your bag. Right? What's wrong with asking your husband to hold bottles? Why do you have to be the one who always hold bottles? I'm curious. You don't have the bag. I'll give him a bag. Yeah, give him a bag. You know, give the guys a bag. Let him to do something. You know, share the works. Ladies, you don't have to hold everything. You share the load. Okay? Now it's funny. In Canada, I found the guys hold a lot of things. Then the ladies first. I was in the outward bound course. We were only allowed, I forgot, less than 10 kilo of luggage between my partner and me. You know, we all have a partner. And the way we partner is the tallest will partner with the shortest. The biggest size will partner with the smaller size. Because, for instance, my partner was like, he was over 6 feet tall. And his shoes were this big. My shoes was this big. So we put together nicely. Right? And his clothing, jacket, everything was so big. Mine was very small. So when you packed together, everything was nice. Okay? And I found that he would always take things. Hey, come, let me take for you. Let me take for you. Okay? And when we had to climb the rocks, and they were very careful with our gear, and I was like really safely fastened. And as I climb, I only have to move a little bit. He would worry that I would fall, and he will lift me up. Okay? Wow, that kind of gentleman. We need more. So this is a hint. We need more. More of this gentleman. I was like, come on, Poh Lan, let me help you. And when we roll, I was a terrible rower. You know, the canoe? Canadians are very good at rowing canoe. So the person in the front is the power steerer. He is the power, okay? So he will steer and the canoe will go forward. The person at the back is the steerer. He steers the boat, left, right, or forward, okay? So at first he was in the front. He was like rolling very hard. But I didn't know how to steer, so my boat was like left, right. So we weren't going anywhere. So I said, then we saw like 2 other boats were sort of like sweeping by us. I said, what is that? What's happening? And he was, I said, okay, Poh Lan, I tell you what, we switch place. You sit in front, I sit at the back. I will steer, okay? I said, okay. But I didn't have the strength. So he was steering very well, but I was like, our boat wasn't going anywhere. So we ended up last. You know, eventually, because then he said, okay, never mind. The power part is more important. So we switched place again. He said, okay, now this is what you do. You steer left, or do you do right? So he was giving me all the commands, okay? So we became last. And then when we landed, we had to lift up the canoe and then walk. And he lifted it first, and then the last 200 yards, he let me. And all the while, he was so encouraging. Come on, Poh Lan, you can do it. Come on, Poh Lan, you can do it. He never say, what a terrible partner you are. Oh my God. I mean, I have such a terrible luck of all the women here. I got you. I was, come on, you can do it, you can do it. So yeah, I had really a nice time, you know, because he would like lift up the heavy things and all the heavy walk, the heavy canoe, the heavy luggage, everything. He would say, and all he wanted was, you feel relaxed, you are too small, you are too weak. I feel more men like that. We should have more men like that, you know, not like here. You take the water bottle lah, that's your work. You take the towel, that's your work. Everything is your work. Women work. So you just have to prepare the things and they lift it up. You used to pack the tent and everything. After we packed it in the luggage. He will leave it out. They never ask us to leave heavy things. So we have a rule here. Anything that is over 10 kg will be lifted by the gentleman. Is that right, Robin? Anything that's over 10 kg, 对不对啊，宇德？过了 10 kg 的就要男人来拿了，是不是？ Is that right, 华英？ No. No? Anything that's over 10 kg will be lifted by the boys? Yeah, not necessary. You see, you must learn. Everything's over 10 kg, or like 20 kg lah, okay? Anything over 20 kg should be lifted by the guys as a gentleman. Men should come out and protect and to preserve. Okay, for the safety, for the protection of the women and the children. So whenever there's a disaster form or in real drill, if there's a disaster, we always let the children and the women go first, okay, followed by the older people. The men, enough to help them to get out, all the men will have to stay at the back. And now, you see the problem, right? So we're going to need to have the men, the traditional way is men are men. Men do the men thing, women do the women thing. We talk about equality in some other time. It's a very interesting topic. It's a very sensitive topic. And I look at you, most of you are women. We only have 4. And sometimes I have to be on your side because there are only 4 of you. And this topic of women equality is actually a very central key to Chinese traditional culture. The role played by women and the role played by men in the traditional culture. And we can talk a lot more about it, okay? So for this week, just remember, 凡出言信为先. Okay? Whenever we speak, honesty comes the first, or your trustworthiness comes the first. 诈与妄奚可焉. Deceit and lies are unacceptable. 话说多不如少. Okay? It's better to talk a little than to chat too much. 惟其是勿佞巧. Tell the truth, do not speak insincerely. So we remember these 24 words for this week. Test it out. Test it out at home. Even though you love to complain and babble about what all the wrong things that your children do, try this out this week. And we'll discuss what happened next week after you try these 24 words. Okay? Thank you very much. We'll end our class here.